problem. The thing we saw it wouldn't unfurl. And probably the more alarming thing is Chris Nicholson didn't really know why
it was stuck.
Why it had stuck. And you're sitting here thinking, golly, we've got 5,000 miles to go and we've got a mechanical problem. It's not as though you can come back and say to the shore team, well, you know,
and also he can't do anything when he comes back. He can't take it off the boat. And
they can fix it on board the boat if there's an issue.
Yeah, but they can only fix what they've got you can only fix it with what they've got on the boat. And I wonder, I mean, we could see that there was a little bit of damage up at the top. I wonder if they could see it from, we could see it from the helicopter shot.
I would assume we might get a little shot here if we're lucky. That if I don't know, maybe we can't pan up to the head of the Jenica. But Martin, it was right in the leech tape. It was just a small rip. And the sailmakers on board Camper, they will fix that, not a problem. Bit of sticky back, bit of glue. They will ensure.
And they've got the same machine.
Yes, it's not it wasn't a major. It's in the high load areas.
You can just, I think you could
just say it, can't you, in the head of the sail, in the head patch there. But they certainly have the ability to do sail repairs.
Look at it, look how swiftly she's humming along there. They're terrific boats. They really are fantastic. And what Chris Nicholson was saying about the paint sticking, I mean, we've talked about this. It's the way the boats, it's all done these days, that they just simply paint the sails. Yeah,
they're painted, and that process, of course, two things. Is one, the reliability of the sails once the colour has been put on, and they're always very conscious too of not adding too much weight, because you don't want weight or excess weight in the boat, and especially on the sails. But I'm not dead sure if Chris Nicholson was completely sure what the issue was.
Well, for aficionados of old black and white movies and war movies and the like, then it's called it's a dazzle pattern that they've got on these sails on Camper that was sort of modelled on the way that they used to paint warships in the Second World War, with a sort of dazzle paint effect that presumably was meant to make them invisible or hard to spot out at sea. You'd think it would be quite hard to hide a destroyer, really.
So Camper just ahead and to windward, Abu Dhabi. They've had their moments as well. They had that port starboard at the top mark. They were deemed to have fouled out, so they were required to do a 720 turn. So that put them at the back of the pack. But now Camper back there because of their sail problem. It's the other boat that had a difficulty and was in the pre-start, or right at the start, was Group Armour. It looked to me as though they'd hit the mark, and they were required to do a turn. It's one of our camera boats there. Gives us the good shots. They will follow the boats down to the marker and back up to the end of stage one,
marina.
Back at the marina.
Ian Walker. I'm transfixed by the pace of that water coming off the stern there. It's I mean, they're quite simply, they're just very quick boats.
What's interesting here, Martin, is you know, they're going down here, they're essentially running downwind, which would mean they'll probably be on an upwind coming back.
On the right there is Justin Ferris. He'll be one of the 20 Kiwis in the fleet who will be hanging out for that arrival in Auckland, back to family and friends and all that means. And his sister Sharon Ferris was a round-the-world sailor as well as being an Olympic sailor too. So keeping it in the family. They're from up in Northland, and long sailing pedigree there. And
Martin, just looking at the boats, you can see the performance numbers are different. We've got Camper sailing a hotter angle, closer to the wind for their optimum. They use a...
I think he's making ground,
No,
actually.
but what they do, Martin, they have these velocity prediction VPP, velocity prediction program, and they couple that with the sail design and the boat design, and on any given wind angle, whether you're upwind, downwind, or across the wind, it'll give the boat or the helmsman a target speed. And we can see here the boats are configured slightly different. It looks like Abu Dhabi likes to sail a little bit deeper, a little bit slower. Camper on this leg sailing a little bit closer to the wind, but in doing so you've got to be going a little bit faster. But the net result is who's getting to the mark, the fastest, and the numbers are different. Camper have heated it up a little bit. They've come from the leeward side or the right-hand side, and they've changed over. Now they're on the left-hand side. And of course, over a long period of time, it is important to sail those correct angles and the correct numbers that the boat has been designed to.
What would you, I mean, we're watching Chris Nicholson still at the wheel. We've been going now for an hour and a half, something of that order. What's, in your experience, what's the maximum you would want to helm a boat for at one go to be on top of your game?
Well, I think it takes a little bit of time to get into it, so you don't want to be too short, but 3 hours is probably a good time. Although sometimes, I'm not so sure in the Volvo Ocean Race, but if someone's running hot, you get a helmsman in there that's doing a very good job with a particular sail and at a particular angle and enjoying the waves, and he's got a good correlation with the trimmers, they may well stay on a little bit longer. But rule of thumb is, 3 hours is a good stint. See Ike Martinez, who started the boat, he's still on the helm. But I think with the Volvo Ocean Race, I'm sure that the regimes of watch system is a little bit more formalised than perhaps doing shorter offshore races.
What we heard in that last leg from Abu Dhabi up to Sanya here, it was through the Straits of Malacca and all the fishing fleets and the difficult navigational hazards and the rubbish in the water and some of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. We were being told that the guys, they would be really lucky to get, if say they had an off-watch period that was nominally 4 hours, they would be lucky, very lucky, if they could get 2 hours actual rest in it. And sometimes they just wouldn't get any at all. So you could see just how absolutely knackering this would be.
Well, when you're in the ocean, especially somewhere, the Malacca Straits is I think it's one of the most busy waterways, certainly in Asia. It's probably it's the busiest waterway in Asia, but you think of